All right. So on your embroidery hoop, I have prepared a fabric for you, and I think yours might be blue. And before you even begin your embroidery, I would recommend finding a tree in your backyard or a tree in your tree book and finding out which tree you would like to draw on your embroidery. And I've just chose a simple tree. I don't really have a name for it. It was just something that I came up with. I really didn't reference it, but I recommend that you do that because I have a little bit more experience with drawing and thinking up of trees and things like that. But for you, because you're learning about trees, it would be good for you to draw it. So what I would do is I would take your pencil, and your fabric is pretty dark. So if you have a white color pencil or a white crayon, maybe not a crayon because it's pretty thick. So I would take a white marker, or if you don't have a white pen, you could also do pencil, but it might be a little bit harder to see on that dark blue fabric. But go ahead and find something that you can draw on your canvas with. And after you finished drawing your tree, you can begin threading your embroidery. So if you look at the back of the embroidery, it's really messy. And nothing in the back of this looks presentable. And yet, even though the back of this is so messy, the front of this, the messy part's hidden, and all you see is the good part. So, I wouldn't worry too much about what your back looks like. This is just the work that comes with making it look like this. So before we begin, I thought I'd show you just a couple of techniques. In your bag, you should probably have some embroidery thread. And if you look at embroidery thread, there are, I believe, six strands that are connected together. And each strand, like if you have 6, that means you're going to make a really thick design or sewing. But if you divide it out like this, which is kind of hard because it tends to twist, so you got to be really careful. Let me get a scissor. Okay, so I would cut the thread first, and about an arm's length is probably a good length for your first thread. And I wouldn't use all 6 strands, and actually I don't even know how big the eye of your needle is. I don't remember which one I gave you. So if the eye of your needle isn't that large to fit 6 strings, then I wouldn't even attempt it. So I've divided this into half. So I've got 3 strands here, and I have 3 strands here. So now I've got 2 pieces of string I can use. Okay, so here's my first part, and I'm going to try to, and I don't know if you can see, but there's the eye of the needle. And I have always licked this part right here. I don't know if that's kind of gross to some of you, but it really helps, or you can use water. It really helps make it smoother so that it's easier to put into the eye. Just because there's so many strands of string. Normally we're used to just one, and see, even that's really hard. So what I do is I like to take my nail and kind of make it thin and have a straight edge. Just kind of play with it. There we go. Till it goes in. Okay. And then we're going to knot the bottom of the string. So if you do not know how to knot, I would ask your parents for help. But it's really just making knots at the end of the string so that when you pull it out, the whole thing doesn't come out. There. Knot. Okay. All right. Now we're ready to work on this. So the first thing I'm going to show you is the French knot. Now, you are welcome to obviously look on YouTube and search the many types of embroidery stitches there are. I'm sure they would do a better job of teaching it than me, but there are so many videos out there that teach you how to make different stitches. But the one I'm going to show you right now is the French knot. And what you're going to do is you're going to pull the needle through, pull it out all the way. Let me see if I can get this closer. Okay. And depending on how big you want the dot to be, I would wrap it depending on that. So if I took my needle right here, I don't know if you can see that, and I wrap this 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Do you see me pulling on this string right here? I'm pulling it because I'm trying to make it tight. And I'm very carefully going to put the needle very close to where it came out of. I'm still pulling this pretty tight so it holds the shape. Ooh, it's kind of tricky. I don't know if this might be too hard for you. And if it is, that's okay. So I'm still pulling this string. And where's my pink flower? There it is. So that's one little dot that I made with 3. It takes a lot of practice. So before you even begin to embroider on your canvas, if you have some fabric that you'd like to practice on, you're welcome to do that too. Realize this is a skill that I can't just, do in one sitting and in one video. But because we've got time constraints and we're trying to do this distant learning thing, I'm trying to finish get these projects finished before school is done. So, but you're welcome to work on it and practice it some more during summer break, and hopefully it will be something that you would like to continue doing in the future. So I'm going to show you again how I did that. I'm going to add another one here. And if you notice, I didn't cut it and I didn't knot it. I'm using the same. Okay, so 1, I'm keeping the tension tight. 2, 3. And then I'm pulling on this string and I'm going to poke it back, not in the same area that it came out of, but very, very close to it. I'm still pulling this string here, and I'm going to keep pulling it because I don't want that shape. There we go. So how about we try one with 4? Okay. So let's pull that up. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I've kept the tension pretty tight, and I'm still pulling the string even as I lift this up. Pull this needle through, which is kind of hard. So the more you wrap the string, the harder it is for the needle to get through, because the hole that you made isn't the same size as... So 4 really didn't make a difference. Didn't make that much of a difference. Okay, but I'm just gonna keep making some. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so I'm gonna pull this even as I lift this up and pull the string out back. Okay. All right. Maybe just one more to show you So 1, 2, 3. I'm just going to stick to 3 because this fabric is very thick. Ugh, and I keep pulling the... And if you look, that string keeps getting in the way. So you got to make sure you're pulling the needle and not the string. There we go. Okay, so that is the French knot. Now, I am done using this pink. So what I'm going to do is knot it. I'm going to make a knot on the back of this as close as possible to the canvas. I feel like this might be hard for you, but if that's too hard, I would take this out of the needle and I would use my fingers and just make a knot, but make sure not to close the knot and bring it all the way to as close to the canvas as you can. Once again, this is probably going to take some practice getting used to. I think the French knot is one of the harder ones to learn as a beginner. But let me go ahead and show you how to make the tree. Okay, so I've divided this string and now I'm going to thread it. Okay. There we go. All right. So after I've knotted it and I've threaded it, let's bring it. Now I'm going to show you kind of the back stitch. Oh, sorry, it's blurry. And that's what I sort of used for the leaves. And you can also use it for the tree, the branches and things like that. It's a very simple stitch. So you're just going to go out and in kind of backwards. Oops. And there's many different ways to stitch this, embroider this. So I'm just making the petals for this flower. Okay. There we go. So there's one flower. And let's make another one here. Oh, I hope this isn't too frustrating for you guys. If it is, you know, don't feel pressured. But I do want you to try, at least try it, you know, and at least practice a little bit because it does take practice. All right, and then put that in there. So I'm just making a simple, it's kind of like a running stitch, but just one stitch. There we go. I really envy the season, the generation of time when you could sit and embroider. We live in such a different time now. But now with this quarantine, there's a lot of things we can make time for, huh? Is there a new skill that you're learning as you're not really doing activities as much now? Hopefully this will be one of them that you're learning. Okay. So there's that. And I will do more leaves here just to show you some more of those simple stitches. So I'm going to tie this. Oops. And this is without the needle. Okay, so I'm going to get some green. I'm sorry if you don't have enough or if you don't have enough colors. This is actually, I found the thread that you have, I found at a thrift store. There was a whole bag of them, and I was trying to make sure everyone in the 6th grade would have some. So I couldn't give everything. So I'm sorry about that. But if you're doing the project and you realize that you need more string, maybe when you come back from school or come back from this break and we're able to meet in school again, you're welcome to come up to me and tell me what color you want, and you can finish it that way.
Why is the blackberry?
Yeah. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to make these leaves. And if your parents know how to embroider, they might be able to show you how to do a chain stitch or different stitches that they may know. And I would ask your parents. I would ask them and say, Mom, Dad, do you know how to do this stitch? And if they know, it would be a great opportunity for your mom, your mother, to show you what she knows. I'm just trying to keep this as simple as possible. So if I want to make this leaf thicker, I just go over it. Be careful not to poke yourself as your needle goes in.
It looks like there's bone and shop food.
Yeah. He's getting excited about a bird at our bird feeder. Okay, so sorry, this is really, I don't know if this is making you dizzy, but so I'm just making small stitches, and if I want to make the leaf thicker, I just go over it again, and it should make the line thicker and the leaf a little bit thicker. So let's do this. I'll make this thicker. You can go on top of it or you can go next to it. And that's kind of what I did here. If you look. And also you can make your string thicker. So right now I only have 3 strands. You could divide 4 strands if you need to. So there's that. And the way I'm making the leaf is the same way you can make these details right here, except you're going to go backward. So you're going to go, your needle's going to come out here, and then your needle's going to come out here and go that way, and then that way. So I'll show you how to do that next. Yeah, and make sure you knot it and cut it. Okay, so I've threaded my brown thread, and now I will show you the back stitch. Okay, so if I wanted to add more details to this, I'm not sure if you can see the pencil marks, but I have a few pencil marks here that's showing the detail. As I made that first stitch, do you see where my needle's coming up? It's not coming up where I just last put it. It's not coming up there. It's coming up here. So we're going backwards. And then I'm going to poke it back into the last place. There we go. I'm going to do the same here. Put that in there. Okay, does that make sense? And I'm going to do it here. Put it in there. There we go. And maybe I want some more detail here. I saw this really cool embroidery tree where it had all the seasons on the leaves. So it had winter, fall, spring, and summer on the tree. I thought that was such a good idea. So as you're doing this, and you think you want to change it or you want to change the colors, actually I wouldn't like change it. But that's an idea that you can think of doing on your tree. It's a creative idea. Sorry, my children being a little bit loud right now. Okay. There we go. So now I'm going to knot it. And I am going to let you finish up the embroidery. And like I said, there's a lot of resources out there that you can look up on YouTube. I have a book on embroidery. You can look up books on it at the Auburn Library, since a lot of those resources are free now. And yeah, I can't wait to see what you come up with. If you have any questions or you're struggling with something, please email me and I will get back to you as soon as possible. Another thing to keep in mind is this fabric that you're doing embroidery on, you should keep the fabric very tight. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm just pulling this fabric while pushing this so that it remains tight. And this will tighten it. So if you screw this more, it should tighten it so that the fabric... Now, I've done it for you, but if you find that your fabric is still loose, just turn this little dial and tighten it. Okay? All right. Hopefully you'll have fun making this, and I'll see you and talk to you guys later. Bye.